Whoa, ho, ho. It's a table full of 1911s. Bat Check JW here. Yes, we got a lot of 1911s on the counter here on the table. We're doing a review, and the question is, what 1911 should I buy? How can I make the choice? What is a GI 1911, plain Jane GI versus something that's all souped up, as they say? What are you gonna buy? Now that's always a matter of opinion, and gun shops and folks are full of opinions. My opinion, Jack, Joe, Tom, Mick, Alan, they all have their own opinions, right? But is a gun gonna make you more accurate? Yes and no. You know, if you can't shoot well to begin with, I'm sorry, you're just going to be helpless with that situation. You know, it doesn't matter what gun you have. So anyway, you know, some of the differences. Let's go down the line here and let's look at some of the differences between these guns. Now, this is a beautiful gun, this Colt World War I reproduction, or reintroduction as the Colt calls it. You guys seen this before. You've seen it on the channel many times, hopefully. This one is neat because Colt went back and pretty much made a reproduction of the original World War I war gun. What was issued out to the doughboys, what they were carrying around in the trenches fighting the Germans at the time. So, taking a look at this thing, some of the features that it has on it, and I'm not going to go into great detail, I'm just going to cover the basics, something that you're going to be able to hopefully take to a gun shop with some knowledge that I hopefully can share with you here, and you can learn something, and just sweep by some guns and make that assessment. So this one here, you'll notice it's got a long trigger. That's something you'll start to notice on 1911s, the trigger size lengthwise here. So it's kind of a longer trigger, flat mainspring housing. Now this one is smooth. It does not have any kind of serrations, checkering, or like Ed Brown's made chain link ones and everything like that. So it doesn't have any of that. And also this here, the beaver tail grip safety here is next to nothing. And what happens there is with this particular one is you get a little hammer bite there. So when you fire it, that hammer comes back down and kind of gets you right there. So that's just kind of something you're gonna have to deal with. Back then, hey, your life was at stake. That was the last thing they're thinking about. But anyway, taking a look at the sights on this baby, not too good. It's a little harder to pick up, but still very shootable. I can still bang the steel and still hold a pretty good target day and range day with it, and still walk away thinking I hit something, you know, bowling pins, steel plates, paper, whatever. Still a great gun as an introduction or reintroduction to the World War I pistol, and it's kind of cool. It's nostalgic for me. It's something I just had to have. World War II era comes along, so they shortened the trigger here. They put some scalloping on the frame so that your finger kind of fits in through there. And they extended the beaver tail a little bit, so they added some metal there so you don't get the hammer bite, and they arched the mainspring housing, put some serrations on it, still kept the lanyard loop here, which is pretty cool. Did away with the walnut grips and put some big light type plastic brown grips on there. They're full checkered, no more fancy diamonds designs on it and whatnot, so kind of more robust, and the parkerizing is kind of like this off gray greenish parkerizing. So anyway, now comes to the Colt's introduction to the government model, which is one of my favorite pistols here. This is known as the Government Model Series 80, and that's where some changes went through. So cosmetically, and let's just look at the outsides of it. Long trigger, as you can see, so they kind of stole the idea from the back to their old original days, and like that frame scalloping that they left in from World War II. And then they still kept that mainspring housing, or not the mainspring, the grip safety here with the extended little piece of metal so you don't get the hammer bite. My mainspring housing here is arched instead of flat, which I prefer. No lanyard loop on this one. Vertical serrations on the slide, polished flats, and 3-dot system on the sights. A little bit definitely wider open for say versus the old war guns, because this was more like just point it and shoot it. The barrel is stainless steel on this, so that's another thing if you are into the stainless accent or the silver accent there, versus like the old war guns are just black, which that's kind of cool. I actually prefer that. It's really neat. But this makes it look sexy, right? The other thing that they did, which most people, you may consider this a GI configuration or original mil spec configuration when it's kind of like a hybrid. A little bit of modern add-ons and a little bit of World War I and World War II, as you clearly see here. The other thing is the ejection wall. Where the ejection comes out through the slide, they actually lowered it. Most people don't even realize that. You can see here on the reproduction World War I, it's higher. It's actually right in line with the lines of the gun versus this one. So, anyway, and this one being a Series 80, what does that mean? If you notice here, and I did a full review with this gun, you can check that video out on the channel. They added a firing pin block here, very much like a Glock. So what that is that stops the firing pin from going forward in case the hammer accidentally trips itself off and breaks or something and it falls forward. It won't go off because inside the frame, when you pull the trigger, it actually is he's got some switches and levers on this side stacked up, so the trigger bumps into them, pushes them up, and then it hits that button out of the way for the firing pin to fall. That's what the known as the Series 80 configuration. Gunsmiths don't like it because it adds to the trigger weight and it can add to makes it harder for you to get a crisp trigger. But if you ask me, this Colt, because it's a Colt, it really is nice. I mean, it's not bad at all. You guys see my range video with that, hopefully. I have no trouble with banging the steel. Absolutely no trouble at all. Another great thing about 1911s is they're pretty much like the Barbie doll of handguns. They got everything. This one here, the Kimber Desert Warrior, I bought it because of the color, right? Tactical. Yeah, no, seriously, the color is awesome. I just had to have it. Flat dark earth. Kimber is just, they made a really great piece here, and this is the first Kimber I've ever owned, and definitely won't be the last as long as I have the money. But they are very expensive. Got a good deal with this one. I bought it off Gunbroker, is my favorite place to shop for guns because you can get them cheaper than anywhere else. The flat dark earth finish, it's got the rail lug, you got front and back, you know, serrations there. You got Mepral lights, so they're glow in the dark sights. Isn't that cool? Very tactical, right? And a big one for me, the thumb safety, ambidextrous and very extended. You can see that. Comes a long way from the old GI model right here, where it's just a kind of a little tiny ledge with some checkering on it. So, and this one's ambidextrous, and you guys know, if you don't know, I am left-handed, so that really is a big help for me. I got the Magpul grips on it, actually, the MOE grips. I did a video on that. You can check it out on the channel. It is meant for a righty, you know, so you can get it with your thumb here, but you know, actually, where it fits with my index finger right here, I can get it pretty nice and eject the mag, and it fits pretty nice with my trigger finger there. So that's no problem for me. High ride beaver tail, as I spoke about, with the memory groove or serrations right here, so it helps you get a good contact point on it and everything like that. Commander style hammer with the skeletonized middle there. That's kind of, you know, Colt I think came up with that first, and a lot of people were trying to get onto that, but Colt kind of had the market on that for a little while there. So actually Wilson Combat started making those out of other hammers, surprisingly, back in the day. But with all that in mind, you know, with the extra grips, the beaver tail, the hammer, the serrations front and angled, you know, serrations rail mounted light, is all this going to make me shoot any better? Not really. The trigger brake is going to help you. The sights are going to help you. You know, how tight is that gun? Does it wobble a lot? Some of these older GI guns, like this World War II one, man, I tell you, that thing wobbles like you wouldn't believe. So that's stuff that's going to kind of have a little impact on accuracy. But for the most part, that's how you can identify some of these 1911s, just by cosmetics wise. A lot of it, remember, is cosmetics, you know, and brand and everything like that. That's what you're going to start paying for. Some of these guys like Kimber, I think Kimber, some of the other guys have said it best, you know, for as far as a production gun, this is the best production custom gun you're going to get for the money right out of there, without spending $3,000-$4,000 on some of those Wilson Combats that are coming out, which, man, I would love to have my hands on one, but I can't see myself at this point in life spending $4 or $5 grand on a gun. handgun for that matter. Anyway, hopefully that I could share some information with you. You know, of course, extra grips are always something you could buy. These are the original ones that came with this Kimber. I never toss my original grips. That was a big mistake back in the day with double action revolvers. People would toss their old wood grips. For those of you Smith & Wesson collectors, yeah, that Coke bottle grips, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Those things are worth hundreds of dollars now. Everybody back in the 60s probably are kicking themselves for tossing those for a pair of Packmeyers. Anyway, these are the original grips. They were a little wide for me, a little thick, for my little baby hands to get around there. So I like that Magpul grip, which are more streamlined, and it fit my hand better. And of course I had that cutout, and the stippling is kind of cool. The stippling is really neat. It's got that Magpul logo all mashed in there that created the checkering on there. A couple of things on this Kimber that I will change out will be the screws for the magazine release and the grips. I don't like the Allen key screws. I prefer the flat head screws, the original, the way it's supposed to be done. And for those of you that don't know why I prefer that, is because in the field, so to say, or survival mode, and your grips come loose, or you need to take that out real quick, you can easily grab anything that's going to be flat, like a key, a coin or something, and get it in there and twist it and work on it. In this case, you know, you have to have the right Allen key. So that's my biggest gripe with that. Magazines, I like the Wilson Combat magazines. They're expensive, but they're worth it. I've had a lot of weird things happen with other brand magazines with me on the range, just kind of doing some fast speed shooting, drills, reloads, all that kind of stuff, and man, Wilson Combat just whacks it out of the park. They make the best. So that's my overview. Hopefully it's not too long and boring. I'm Batjack JW. That's my little input on 1911s. So thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, partner.